Well, I won't hear you anyway.
Oh, yeah. Or
Bang.
The great thing about doing a cold open is that it gives my co-host a chance to find out where their mics are and where they need to be, and they're never in the same place. But that doesn't matter because we have a cold open. So it's time for the pregame show.
That's Connor
Stars
Hellebuyck.
and Jets. And the lineup's going to look a little different tonight, goaltending-wise, than the first time they met, which was the season opener. Let's talk about it right now on DLLS. This is the DLLS Stars Pregame Show. He's Sam.
I don't know what reloading
He's
means.
waving. There's Craig. I'm Owen. We have Ryan Vaughters. And they're already confused. Right as we started, Sam's trying to give us lyrics to a song that I didn't even know there were words to.
Back.
We did that already.
Really?
Yeah, I think we did that for...
You talking about the thumbnail?
Yeah, didn't we do their back for Nils
Ryan,
and
do you have the
Duchesne,
ability to
or
pop the thumbnail up for
someone
Luds
else?
again on our screen? Or even on everybody's
Look
screen?
at it.
Okay, well, we can talk about it for a minute because Luds is suggesting that there are reinforcements, which is what we did when Matt Duchesne and Nils Lundqvist came back into the lineup on Sunday.
Did I say reinforcements?
No, you said we're back.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
No, I said they're back.
they're back. Similar theme because today for our thumbnail, if you guys haven't seen, it was all three of them.
Yeah.
Because the story of the day is Thomas Harley is playing hockey again for the Dallas Stars tonight. He returns after missing the last 12 games due to injury, hasn't played for a little while now, and I believe it was the 13th of November against the Montreal Canadiens in Montreal was the last time. There it is, Luds. That's our thumbnail today. Reloading as they get some key pieces. These three guys back in the lineup mean there are only 4 players currently out injured for the Stars.
That's crazy.
That's great.
That's crazy talk.
4 still alive.
Usually they have 7 or 8.
It's great unless you're Koliachonok or Coco Bana.
Yep.
You know, it's great, but, some guys are going to have to go away when they all get back healthy.
Well, the good news is that Harley will return. What do you expect to see from him tonight, especially as Lutz just said, Vladislav Koliachonok will come out of the lineup as a healthy scratch, and Harley hasn't played since mid-November, so it's been almost a month.
I expect different than when Miro came back. Miro comes back, and he's a skater, and I think Miro tried to skate, and it stuck out. Stuck out because Miro's such an effortless guy moving up and down the ice and east to west. I think what you're going to see from Thomas, I think you're going to see the pucks move quick. And I think that he will – I think he's smart enough to know that, especially in the beginning, move the puck. I get in the offensive blue line. I shoot the puck. I just think that for him, because he's a puck mover normally, different than Miro. So I think that's the way he'll start the game. Again, I think you're just hoping anytime guys get back, they get in with the flow of the game. They're playing against a team that's still, there's a rivalry here, and, it'll probably get, some bumps. You'll probably get into the game pretty early.
What do you think about Thomas Harley? Because we had been kind of critical about his game early
Yeah, it wasn't
this
good to
season.
start,
Yeah,
right?
no, I'm curious how much of it was because we knew he was sick and we knew he was battling an injury. And obviously the injury eventually led to him staying out, and not just sitting out for, we're going to give him a game or two. He missed a lot of time, as Owen just said. He missed 12 games. So
Was it upper or lower?
Lower. It was his foot. Goldson did mention it today. So it's good to have him back because Miro, as we've talked about, has been so good. But if Miro continues to have to do what he's doing right now, you can imagine that Miro's going to tire out. And last thing they want to see, we talk about it with Jake all the time, but last thing we want to see is Miro and Essa and some of those guys in round 1 of the playoffs looking a little slower like they did. I think it was 2 years ago where it was really obvious that Harley and Miro had played too many minutes during the season, and it caught up to him. So to get Harley back is obviously huge for the offensive on the blue line, power play, everything like that. But to have that trickle-down effect with Miro and with Lindell to get a little fewer minutes for some of the other guys that have been playing a lot should help them as well.
he doesn't take minutes away from on the PK though.
No.
Like Thomas, they really never really threw him into that penalty killing role yet. I remember him being there a couple times. I'm not sure why not. But it would be nice to see, and maybe it's Lyubushkin. I don't know, but I think that if you're talking about dialing minutes back for Miro, to me that would be the area.
Yeah.
Well, Casey DeSmith is going to get the start tonight in goal as the Stars continue to rotate their goalies. And I think that sets up really nicely. Now, Sam and I were having this conversation yesterday before the show, and Luds told us we were nuts. Not because we were making bad decisions, but just thought we were digging in a little too deep about it. But, Sam,
yes.
I'm going to bring you into this because I know Luds will say, stop asking me. It makes sense that, well, here's the crazy part. They're playing Casey against probably the weakest of the three teams right now because I know Florida's the lowest in the standings. They'll play Florida on Saturday. But I think at home, you're still respecting the Florida Panthers game. But you've got Jake who loves to play in his home state of Minnesota.
Yep. So
you expect him to play against the Wild on Thursday. I think he'll probably play against Florida on Saturday. So it makes sense to play a team that's struggling right now in the Winnipeg Jets. But Casey's just been really good anyway.
That's the thing. Both sides of that work. You got a team that's not scoring a lot of goals. I was looking at their stats today, and we'll talk about the Jets more, but in general, they're just mediocre at just about everything, right? They're in middle of the pack in almost every stat,
Yep.
If not lower. There's not a whole lot of stats that they're up there in the top 10, even top 15. So you're not scoring a lot of goals. You're not super afraid of their power play. No one's really lighting it up in terms of offense. So that's a good way to start your backup. But also, as you just mentioned, Casey's not a backup right now. I mean, the Stars posted a picture, I think, called, they said like the two-headed monster, and it was Jake and Casey over their last 10, 15 starts.
We have a picture too. Would you like
let's,
to see
let's
it?
do it. Let's do it.
Ryan made this graphic up to see. We have some streaks going on here. Jake's won 6 in a row and 9 of 10. Casey literally lost his first start of the year, which was the game against Vancouver in Dallas. He wasn't great. The whole team wasn't great. He hasn't lost in regulation since his first appearance of the year. He has a 9-game point streak. Look at the numbers. They have both been excellent.
Yeah, and this isn't the offense is making the goalies look good either, right? We've talked about the Stars have not been an offensive juggernaut the last 10 games, the last 15 games even. They're not putting up a ton of shots. They're not scoring a ton of goals. A lot of these games they're winning are either coming back from deficits or winning tight ones close. The goalies have made the saves they need to make and maybe 1 to 2 of the ones that steal one. And that's what we talked about all summer. Luds harped on it over and over again. The man-on-man versus the hybrid defense that Glenn Gulleson likes to run eliminates some of those golden scoring chances, right? When there is a breakdown, you're most likely not going to see a wide open 2-on-0 in tight or a play where he walks out and he's got no one around him. You're going to see shots from better areas, and the goalies are making those saves and stealing 1 or 2, and that's just made this team that much harder to beat.
Yeah, I think the easiest way I think of it is that goalies are supposed to make saves they're supposed to make. You know what I mean? They know, and I believe the other part of that is because there are more people around there. When there is a rebound, there's help now.
Yeah,
and before there wasn't. But I look at this game. This is kind of a game of the backups, but it isn't.
But
because
it isn't at all.
Casey's not a backup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If he was on any other team, he might be 1A. So I think this all sets up great. But as Sam was talking about, when you look at 5-on-5 stuff, I mean, their goals against are almost identical. Dallas is only scoring like a half a goal more than what that Winnipeg is. So from that standpoint, which again, it comes back to who's got the better power play probably at the end of the night, and they're struggling on the power play.
Not even close. Yeah.
Not like wasn't it last year? They were like 30-some%.
Well,
yeah.
The Jets had the number 1 rated power play. We'll talk more about the Jets in a minute, but that's an interesting point, Luds, because we'll talk about Connor Hellebuyck's injury and the absence there. Hellebuyck's injury and absence has nothing to do with their struggling power play. And I know Nick Ehlers is a good player, but do you really think that losing Nick Ehlers at free agency wrecked the number 1 power play in the league last year?
Yeah, it should. But what Ehlers did, though, is he was effective creating space for people because of the way that he skated. He was able to open up some ice, and he's a little bit more difficult to play against, and especially, again, I mean, we're talking about Dallas versus Winnipeg last year. You go back to the system stuff, and when you're playing where you're just picking that guy up, all of a sudden there's a hole there because somebody has chased him across the other side of the ice that shouldn't be chasing him. I think that's where breakdowns came because of Wheeler.
Yeah, and their power play is middle of the pack. I think at 12 or 13 overall. But the real thing has been lately, right? I don't know if it's just exactly 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks, something like that. They're dead last.
Well, they haven't scored in the last 6 games. They're 0 for 11.
That'll do it.
And they're
6% over.
That'll take you right to the bottom
before Thanksgiving. So
yep.
It's like Dallas. Dallas had a dry spell like this a little bit, broke out of it and exploded and continued going. And it'd be interesting.
But listen
to
the number: 0 for 11 over 6 games. That's less than 2 per game. They're not drawing calls either.
Yeah, they're not. They just don't look as dangerous. Like if you watched the Winnipeg Jets game last year, they either look dangerous because Kyle Connor was flying, which expect him to be like that, like he is always against the Stars. But they either were doing that or they were just heavy on the forecheck, consistently pressuring the defense and hemming him in their zone. This year, I've watched a couple other games, and they just don't look like they're in sync a whole lot. They look like there's a chance here, but it's not consistent,
Okay.
and that's what I've noticed.
Ryan, we're going to go to the bottom of the playlist and play Jets clip 2 because Scott Arniel was asked about what he's looking for because they're talking about splitting up their top line tonight to try to maybe, because that's been their sole source of offense, to try to get other things going, which sounds really familiar because that's what Dallas was doing at the beginning of the year. Well, here's what Arniel's talking about, trying to get more consistency line to line to line during the game.
That's ultimately, no matter who's playing with who, you want things to, it's not so much that they look alike because there's certainly a difference between Scheif's line and Lau's line, or if it's our fourth line, whoever it might be. It's more about the consistency of playing in their end, forcing them to, shift after shift to have, Dallas have to be on their heels and, making them make adjustments to what we're doing. And it's more about that sort of constant wave coming over the board instead of kind of one up, one down, one up, one down type scenario that we've seen. And so it's just being consistent that way with it. Guys, when that does happen, the bench can feel it. You can feel sort of the energy, and you build off of it, and just need that to happen a little bit more often.
Yeah, hi, Scott.
And also on that note too, there are some home ice advantages. So there are some matchup things that you can do a little bit more. So there are some things that go into it that way as well.
Luds, I wanted to play that clip because you, being the veteran ex-NHL player here, you know what it's like on a good team to wave after wave and create momentum and sustain it. They can't seem to get that right now. They'll have a good shift with their top line, and then it will drop. And what does that do to the flow and momentum of trying to create and sustain or build some pressure to eventually lead to a goal?
See, I just think that they when you talk about sustain, they can't spend enough time in the offensive zone like they used to be able to for whatever reason that is. But you look, Connor's got 15 goals, Scheifele's got 14, and Velarde's got 13. After that, there's really nothing through the rest of the lineup. Now again, Niederreiter's got 6, but everybody else in there, I don't know what he's going to do with juggling lines. He's already got Velarde down there, and where he was playing up there, and so I think they had all their eggs were in that one basket, and yes, they were all scoring. But unfortunately, when you're playing a team against that, like Dallas is, when you've got 2 lines for sure, and depending what Gully's going to do, eventually you're going to be outnumbered. I mean, there's going to be a line out there against somebody that they just aren't going to be able to keep up to it when it comes blow to blow, and then but then again, they're a kind of team that knows. We talked about all the 5-on-5 kind of stuff, so they're saying to themselves, we need to keep this game, like everybody else needs to keep the game 5-on-5 and don't put Dallas on the power play, which ultimately becomes the difference maker. It's between the goaltender and Dallas's power play. I mean, how many games this year has that been the difference? The goaltending and the power play.
Yeah.
Special teams and goaltending.
I have a random question for you, Les. Shocker, I know. But the Jets are, I think they're 7th in hits per 60. I'm curious for you, because fans ask about this all the time and always point this out, especially the main players who are leading in hits. What do you think of when you see team hits? Not a Liam Bichel has 300 hits this year. When you see a team that's top 5 in hits, is that a good stat, or does that mean they're just chasing the puck a lot?
No, they're what they're doing. I think what it does, and it'd be interesting in the breakdown of where the hits are and which zone, because I think there's a lot more hits this year in the offensive zone because they make sure pucks get in this year. Yes, there are the guys that are puck guys and they carry it and they want to carry it in, but I think that they've bought into playing a territorial game. A lot of times that is because you get in and they've got guys that have been winning those 50-50 puck battles all over the ice. But what it does, it's not that you don't have the puck. It's those battles. And I think all over the ice there's these 50-50 puck battles in all three zones. And Dallas just they're a faster team, but what I like about it is the numbers. Again, there's numbers in the offensive zone. We talk about that quite a bit, but more importantly, like you just guys talking about, there's numbers around the puck in the defensive zone. There's not guys there's 3 or 4 guys within 2 to 3 feet from each other in the defensive zone. From an offensive standpoint, it's hard to come out of there with the puck. I mean, uncontested. So that's the biggest difference. The system that is going on in the defensive zone is leading everything up the ice.
Well, time for a couple live reads, and then we'll look at the lines for both teams, break through some more videos, and get you ready for Stars and Jets as the pregame show rolls on here on DLLS.
Sam, should we start with the face-off collection? It's been a while. Yeah. Let's take a look. Do we have the green and the black shirt? I'm not sure. Yeah, there it is. Ryan looked all confused, like he didn't know what the face-off collection was.
I don't think the white worked.
Oh, he's got the whiteboard over there. There they are. There are the two big shirts that are probably still available. There is no discount. Sorry to hear that, but there will be here in a couple of weeks. But here's what I really wanted to get to. Let's get to the hats. The hats are smoking, right? And those here, these are the hot hats right now, and the two on the right in particular. Now, if people are sitting at home, are they on the left or are they on the right?
Same as you're seeing.
Okay, so I just want to make sure. Sometimes everything's backwards up here.
Yep.
Like this show.
That is the case
very cool one on the top right, but the colors on the DLS hat is the one that we want to get. I don't know about the blue one. That's a little bit more Cowboys. And we're not Cowboys. That's Mavs?
I think it's technically the Mavs
basketball.
Okay.
Well,
it is because the DLS Cowboys one came first, and it's that silver
one. Yeah,
yes, the football one.
The Cowboys came first. You ever heard that
Shocker.
one before? Yeah, even though they don't come in first in their division ever. Hey-o.
Oh,
I don't even know if that's true.
That's not true.
I think the Packers are ahead of them right now.
Yeah, that's probably fair. Let's also talk about the Supporters Club. We had many Supporters Club members in our studio the other night for our takeover, including T.O., who is, as of right now, Supporters Club MVP.
Ian Ardell handing out some memberships right now.
Right now. See, there you go. Thanks, Ardell. Thanks,
trying to get it to Kayla one of these days.
Yeah, keep rolling. I know. He's been struggling to grab one.
It's going to happen.
Supporters Club is where it's at, though. If you're looking in the chat right now, you see the badges that are around people's names. It pops out. It gives you your own little secret name, the SC, or you get MVP, I think is the other ones. It's the sicko level stuff. It's to bring your fanhood, fandom, fanboy, fangirl, I don't even know.
Getting weird now.
To the next level. But you get exclusive badges.
Fandom?
You get yes, thank you. You get exclusive emojis, including the Craig Ludwig emoji, and you get behind the scenes footage that we film. We got to do one of those soon, I believe, Ryan.
You're just trying to make us do more work. What's going on?
We got to film one of those babies, but there was a funny one on, I believe it was near Halloween. There'll be plenty more, so join Supporters Club now.
Don't worry about it. He's just trying to make us do extra videos.
He's looking at the clock. He's trying to get
exactly.
that number.
All right,
2 minutes.
Guys, I want to hear from Glenn Gulletson a little bit. Here is what he had to say about Casey DeSmith's play.
He's given us everything you can ask for. I think he's got, I think they're 20-10 split right now in games, the two goalies, and he's been just solid throughout. So just going right back to New York and coming into some situations, he's been tremendous.
It's even the head coach has a hard time describing things that are going on because it's like rinse and repeat. It's such a good
our show every day.
Such good problems to have for a head coach of a big hockey team here. Is that what do you want me to tell you besides Casey's been great?
Yeah,
I don't
Casey's
know what
been
else
great.
To tell you.
Jake's been great.
How long do you want
this
this sound
Well,
to be?
30 games, 20 games for Jake, 10 games for Casey. Is 2/3, 1/3 about the formula you want to see by the end of the season? Gives Jake about 50 to 55, Casey about 30.
I think Jake should be around 50.
That's
why I think Sean said 35 starts was what he wanted to see from Casey. So that would be
right now he's on pace for just a little below that.
That's good though. I think those numbers, looking at Jake's stats, it's funny when Jake plays a lot of games in the regular season, his regular season stats are better. But when he plays that many games, his playoff stats are worse. So it's almost like he's better because he's in the flow and he's playing, but it has hit him and he's hit a wall in the playoffs, which is why I think they're focusing on this. And we've said it over and over again. They have a 1A, 1B, as Let's is talking about. Ride it. Yeah. Why not take your starter and give him those nights off so he's fresher when he needs to get in there when you're going to win the game pretty much anyway, whoever you have in there.
And all of that you're talking about with the goaltenders is so important for the 18 skaters because they believe in both of these guys.
Yeah.
There's times, and a lot of times it's the bump, right? The team's not playing well, so your coaches will throw in the backup goaltender. And there's this little thing about, oh, we got to play a little bit harder for this guy. That's not the case. These guys all believe in both of these goaltenders that can do the job regardless. And so if there should be any kind of a time period where one or the other has to go out and spend a little time doing whatever they need to do, there shouldn't be a drop-off.
All right, let's take a look at the line combinations for tonight for the Stars with...
Were you right? Did you guess it right?
Yes. They're sticking with this, with Duchesne, with Fox and Blackwell. But as we saw in the first game of Duchesne coming back on Sunday against the Penguins, there were situations where he popped up with Wyatt Johnston and Mikko Rantanen. Now let's take a look at the defense. And you feel free, guys, you can chime in on both forward or D. But there's one that I was wrong at. I thought we were going to see Harley with Lundqvist.
Me too.
No, he's going to play with Alex Petrovic, according to the lineup, with Capobianco going with Lundqvist. And the only reason this surprises me is maybe because with Petro being more of a minutes guy right now, are they going to play Thomas Harley? Or is this Luds what you said the other night? Lindell, Heiskanen, Petro, and the other three filling in and rotating a bit.
I think the no-brainer is to have Petro up there. The ways that he's played with Thomas, and they're gonna again. I think a lot of it depends on how Harley comes along. How his game is going, and minute-wise, I guess what I'm talking about. I would expect them to both be over 23 minutes or so, depending on how penalties and things like that play out. I just think Petro's deserved it. I just think he's been kind of airtight, and his game has gotten better. And the biggest thing is he's been more noticeable to me with little plays in the offensive zone. Like he hesitates sometimes, he finds seams. He's just got more confidence, and I think he's probably always had that. But now that he's gotten a steady diet, because when you're just a guy that's in and out and you're not sure how long you're going to be here, now he feels like he's part of the group. And so I think he's got that confidence. He can go out and try to make these plays where before, I just want to make sure pucks are in, make sure pucks are out. I do my job in my own zone. I change and I get off the ice. And so I just think now, and again, size-wise, I mean, I think, big pair there.
Has he earned a top 4 spot on this team?
Right now with the guys that are in the lineup.
But even when Bischel, if I was them, I'd put Bischel
with Lundqvist.
and I'd have this top pair.
Yeah, well, and again,
unless you have Lyubushkin in.
I still think Lundqvist Lyubushkin is your...
Yeah,
maybe
that's your in and out.
Yeah. That's what I think.
And hopefully that
he's
doesn't happen to Nils because, he started out in the top 4. He played well early on, and then an injury pops up. I think it's a good problem for Elaine and the head coaching guys to have with that conversation. But again, you got a big team here. The one thing that you're playing against tonight is a pretty big team, and I think Petro probably should deserve some more minutes against a bigger group and be able to handle it. And again, Nils has only played one game coming back, but as we've seen, who knows what's going to happen with the forward lines too. Like, I don't know. I'm curious to see if Matt Duchesne can get back and play in the middle of the ice tonight.
For the Jets, we take a look at their lines and the forward group. The big story of the day is twofold. One is that you have Velarde, who, by the way, there's some debate about who's the second line. It looks half of the Jets media had Nemestikov listed as the second line center. Half of them had Lowry. But Velarde has been playing with Scheifele and Connor. That's been their big line. They're splitting them up to try to balance it out. And Luds, I'm a little surprised Cole Perfetti has struggled so much. I know he had an injury, but he has not been the dangerous threat on the wing that we remember from last year.
Yeah, that's why, to me, their third line, even though Lowry's been more of a third line kind of guy, their third line is easily their number 2 line.
Yes.
When it comes to at least being more dangerous offensively.
I agree.
Yeah, and Perfetti hasn't done what they hoped for. And Nemestikov's been okay, but again, I would definitely. I don't even think it matters.
The other storyline is just that Jonathan Toews is embracing, as he's been a good soldier, a 4th line role.
Yeah.
He just wants to help the team. But Sam, it's not easy for a guy that's been top of the heap, 3 Stanley Cups, captain of a dynasty, to all of a sudden just kind of be happy to be there. But he seems to be handling it well.
Yeah, he's handling it well. I was just looking. He has 9 points, got 40 shots. He actually is playing 16 minutes, which is pretty close up there, right behind, I think, the top 4 or 5 forwards there. So he's getting good minutes because he's playing on the power play a little bit. But I'm curious what you guys, I don't know how much you've watched this team. What have you seen from him this season?
Unfortunately, we've seen Jonathan Toews, the future Hall of Famer. And then I mean, I didn't expect, honestly, after taking, it was close to 3 years, 2.5 years,
Yep.
2.5, 3 years.
Couple seasons off.
Step into the NHL and come back. And, you know, I know he enjoys playing in his hometown here. Average.
Yeah. And is that okay? Is that does he have more than that still?
It's okay because of his leadership and everything else he brings. You know, I think they've welcomed him into this team. And I even heard Chevy talking, general manager talking about him when Taze is walking around, he's in the room and guys are coming up to him and he's kind of holding court. But I think they look at him as if he's been there for more than, half a season or whatever it may be. So I just think that he just brings a lot of knowledge and how-tos and what-ifs, and this is how we should be doing this. And I think it's so good that it sounds like he will take whatever role he can get. And if he's on the fourth line, then he'll do his job there from the fourth line.
Check out the defense and goaltending for the Jets tonight. Hayden Fleury is getting close to returning from concussion protocol, although he was not skating because he had an illness that was not related to the concussion. But Eric Comrie will get the start. A lot of similar names on the back end right now for the Jets. And with Eric Comrie getting the start, we take a look at the goalie matchup. Of course, it's DeSmith versus Comrie. He has not been able to carry the water like Connor Hellebuyck, which is a huge ask for the reigning MVP and Vezina Trophy winner. But guys, the Jets are 3-6-1 in their last 10 games since Hellebuyck underwent arthroscopic knee surgery. And they include some very one-sided losses. 3-0 loss at Minnesota, 5-1 at Carolina and at Buffalo, and then they're coming off a 6-2 loss at Edmonton where they fell behind early. The only common denominator is all of those were on the road.
Well, the other thing, this is a team thing, as you said earlier. Before Hellebuyck went out, his last 10 games, he was 4-6.
Yeah.
So it's not like he, it's not just him that's going on. I go back to that defenseman group, and to me, the head of the snake for this team is Morrissey. He's the guy that transfers the puck. He creates a lot of offense from the back end. He leads it out of the zone, and that's how a lot of these guys up front will get set up, and it's because of that guy. I like their 5 and 6, honestly. Big, strong, heavy pair. But to me, the head of the snake is, and I would be asking my forwards to, if we each want to give 1% each tonight, I would 2 or 3 on Morrissey and make it difficult for him.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I was just looking to confirm the stat. They weren't great. They were 15th in save percentage all season total.
Yep.
Since Hellebuyck went out, 24th.
Yep.
878. I mean,
it's gotten worse.
But I mean, you can't really argue that's probably the most important. If that goalie's going out, it's going to affect the team more than any other goalie in the league.
I want you to hear, because
censored.
I have 3 or 4 clips we don't have time for. All things that Gully answered for members of the Winnipeg media that haven't seen him since the first game of the season. And they're interesting things. Maybe we'll get to it post-game. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow. Maybe we won't use it at all. But listen to Scott Arniel be asked about the Dallas Stars to start off his 9-minute media availability this morning.
The Dallas Stars, you do the homework and you see they don't appear to have a weakness, do they?
No, I mean,
or
I guess, so you're saying don't play them or what? I don't even know. No, you know what, they're a team, obviously we know them really well. They're a Central Division opponent that, that we know, obviously faced them in the playoffs last year, and they're off to a great start. They got 10-0-2 in their, or whatever it is, 8-0-2 the last 10, and it's just going to be one of those games. It's a divisional opponent. It's about the moment. I talked often about focus on what's happening right now, and no better way for us to get up and running and get ourselves feeling good about ourselves about beating this hockey team.
Game number
31.
What is this? Is game number 31?
31.
That means there's 40, 50.
Well, if you count tonight, there's
51 to go after this.
After tonight,
we're going to hear the same answer from every visiting coach. And they're going to. What do you want us to tell you? They're a great team,
and
they score,
and
their
they're
power
rolling.
play is unbelievable, and their goalies are excellent.
Well, I want to bring up one quick thing before we wrap this up. And I looked this up today. Do you guys know, we were talking about Miro. We did a mini pod, in fact, about his chances of winning the Norris. You know, Miro has scored goals in 3 straight games. And do you know, in 500-plus career games, this is the first time he's ever had a 3-game goal streak.
Is that New Jersey, San Jose, Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
How
the
about
first
that?
time ever?
First time he scored 3 straight games. And
Why he was one of my 3
he's
stars.
this streak doubled his goal total, right? Makar has 9. Now Miro has 6. Miro's a top 5 scorer in the defensive race for points.
You watched our mini pod.
And I'm telling you, if he stays around, right, he doesn't have to win it, but he's got to be
At least a
he's
point
got to
per
stay
game.
with it closest enough to the lead pack.
Yeah. It's got to be a point per game guy.
And if he is there, if he's within, let's say, 5 or 10 points of the leaders by the end of the season with the way he's played the rest of it, I think he has a shot.
Agreed.
Okay. We have a super chat to roll this one out, and it has to do with Luds because it always does. Ugh. So,
Bing bang.
Ardell with a Ludwig, Lud's song stuck in my head. It's an earworm. Well,
Which
for all
one?
of us,
Which one? You guys made 3 of them.
well, I believe Ryan hit Ardell in the chat. Did he give you an answer? Okay, so
Play your
it's
favorite, Ryan.
dealer's
Up
choice
to you.
to play it out for Lud, Sam, and I, and for Ryan. Post game after this one, Stars and Jets.
His blonde hair has flow, his shin pads were wide. Even Vinny Paul would say that he's a swell guy. Luds, we love our Luds. Two cops to his name, number 3 on his back. He only played defense, was never on the attack. Luds, we love our Luds. Craig Ludwig, he's the man. Nobody can do an ad read like you can. His fists are like bricks, he's rugged and tough. He does what he wants because he doesn't give a fuck. Luds, we love our Luds. Yeah, everybody. Luds, we love our Luds.
We all silly like the mayor.